Alright, what's going on, everybody? We are live here. I guess I probably should shut my window. Well, we're private. Can't do that. Gotta make it public. Alright, so we should be live. Check on it and see if everything is going smooth, running smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the window as well. So well, you shouldn't hear very many cars, so we're probably good. Alright, let's see. Yep, seeing on my end that it's live. Yeah, so I think we're pretty much good to go here. We should be, everything should be good. Let me look at one last thing here. See. Alright, yep, we're good. Alright, so for today's live stream, I just kind of wanted to go ahead and kind of just recap everything that happened in our franchise. And kind of go through and look at everything. So before we advance out of this screen, we'll just go ahead and do a quick recap. Sorry if you can hear those cars passing by. The morning breeze just feels pretty nice. So you look at the playoff bracket, this is kind of the recap here, and it was a dominating victory for us against Buffalo. They just didn't pass the ball well. They didn't really even attempt to pass the ball. And they turned the ball over 4 times, so that definitely helps big time. If you look at the player stats, see Josh Allen, 232 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was sacked 5 times, too. That doesn't help. Had a good completion percentage, though, that's for sure. And then Goff had himself a pretty good game as well. And then rushing here, you saw Jamal Williams had over 100 yards. Crazy, Jamal Williams is not going to be in Detroit next year, which, you know, the more that I read about it, I think that Detroit made a good decision on bringing in David Montgomery and Jamal Williams leaving. But at the same time, it just feels like Jamal Williams was such a pivotal piece of that team in real life, and especially in our franchise here. And then Blake Corum, our backup, you see. And then receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown did his thing. And then Jody Fortson, we'll look at him. He really excelled. He looked really good this season. But yeah, we already know about that. But the one game that I did want to talk about was the game that kind of started to ruin this game for me. Look at this. This is ridiculous here. You look at it. Got my coffee ready to go. Jalen Hurts threw 6 interceptions in this game. Yeah, this is ridiculous. 18 to 34 passing, 6 picks he threw. Jared Goff probably had his best game of the season. And then rushing, we didn't even really run the ball that well. I mean, we did, obviously. Jamal Williams, 74 yards. Blake Corum with 50. He had more attempts than Jamal Williams in this game. Jamal Williams had 3 touchdowns. Look at the receiving. Jody Fortson, this guy just dominated all year long. But the defense is what came in clutch here. You look at the interceptions, 3 for Christian Gonzalez, 3 for Sean Murphy-Bunting. And then you look at the forced fumbles. We had 1 by Julian Okwara and 1 recovery by Romeo Okwara. But that was the game that kind of hurt this series for me just a little bit. And it was hard to kind of bounce back from that point. Obviously, we defeated the Giants in round 1 and then had a very good NFC Championship game against the Dallas Cowboys. One of the best games of the series for sure. Yearly awards. We've already looked over the yearly awards. There's really no reason to look at that at this point. Managed staff, managed roster. I'm not really too worried about doing a staff upgrade. I kind of just want to go through the offseason and see what would this Detroit Lions team look like following their first Super Bowl. We do have one new injury to look at, and it was Pharaoh Brown, I do believe, which I want to look at him as well because he was the tight end that started off for us, and then injuries is what kind of plagued him, and from that point on, he never really got the opportunities. Of course, we'll look at his stats, and Gleek Hudson, we obviously put him on the injured reserve, and Alex Anzalone felt like in the second half of the season just could never stay healthy, so that definitely hurt. So yeah, I think, and then down here you see contract extended. Dan Campbell, 6 years for $7 million. And then there are some staff moves to look at here of who got fired. Let's look at the head coaches here. Stefanski got fired by the Browns. Todd Bowles gets fired by the Bucks. Roger Hughes gets fired by the Cardinals. Mac Williams fired by the Jets. Sean McVay gets fired by the Rams, which that's ridiculous. Lovie Smith fired by the Texans. Jay Gordon fired by the Niners. And Jay Gordon was hired by the Texans. Okay. So I was about to say, there's two Jay Gordons coaching. That's pretty crazy. And then you look at the offensive coordinators. I'm not going to go through every single one. And you can kind of see who was fired there. So with that being said, I do want to go over here to the top stories. I want to look at some of these draft stories. And kind of just read these. They write these so small that it's almost impossible to see. Bowl breakdown leads to Stoudemire's benching. Alabama coach tried to let LaMichael Stoudemire work through his struggles, but with a bowl game on the line, he was benched for poor play. The FCS Player of the Year was quarterback Victor Randolph. Small school prospects earn awards too, and there is none more prestigious than the FCS Player of the Year, which went to Jacksonville State quarterback Victor Randolph. Miami's DeMarcus Medlock wins the Heisman, so to no surprise, it was Miami quarterback DeMarcus Medlock who came away with the prestigious Heisman Trophy Award. Larry Hyde was the guy offense is worried about all season. He found himself in a spotlight after being named college football's best pass rusher. And then here's one right here. Back issues that plagued outside linebacker Everett Shelby throughout his college career are now interfering with his draft stock as teams growing increasingly concerned with his ability to, and you can't even finish it. You can't even finish the story. And then no combine for Derek Bost as he has an injury that he does not want to risk. So yeah, the draft story is very minimum. That's something Madden needs to fix if they want to make this game any better moving forward. I am going to go ahead and shut this window just because I don't want it to be deafening with birds. All right. So I guess the first thing we can look at is our team schedule here. I think we did play the preseason game, which is crazy because we went 0-3 in those games. And then you look at the regular season, this Saints game right here was a fairly easy game. Our offense played well, but we did not run the ball well at all. Only 60 total rushing yards. We had 300 and something passing yards. As you see, Jared Goff had a 4 touchdown, 1 pick, 330-yard day. And then Jamal Williams, 16 carries for 46 yards. He did not run the ball well at all. But Amon-Ra St. Brown had 8 catches for 139 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Williams, 6 for 139. Pharaoh Brown, 2 for 32. And Lazard had 1 touchdown, but he was never fully involved in the offense as much as we would have liked. And then looking at the defensive side of the ball, Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks. Drew Sanders, who eventually started to fall off, and we didn't see much of him anymore. He had 2 sacks, and we had no interceptions defensively. And then the next week, we played against a Buccaneer squad who I want to say they had Baker Mayfield playing quarterback. I feel like it's becoming very common that Baker Mayfield goes to the Bucs in people's franchises. I've seen it more and more. And Goff had a 2-interception day that day, 266 yards. But Jamal Williams broke out for a 146-yard rushing day with 2 touchdowns. And receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown was just off to a dominant start. And until he got injured for the very first time, his dominant start just kept going. Pharaoh Brown, 4 catches, 54 yards. See, Pharaoh Brown was that guy at tight end early on in the season, and then he kind of fell off. So we won that game against the Bucks. Turn around, lose to the Bears. I want to say that was because Justin Fields just put together an amazing game, which that's true. I want to say he might have even ran for a lot of yards as well. 79 yards, yeah. And then David Montgomery, we just could not stop him. Now a Detroit line in real life. And you look at receiving in this game, I'm just kind of interested. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown once again. Jameson Williams had 1 catch for 85. And then Pharaoh Brown, 2 for 26. Kind of quiet. And I want to say this game against the Chargers is where Pharaoh Brown kind of broke out for the first time, which is amazing that we beat these guys because they had a dominant offense in this game. Herbert threw for 374 yards, and Goff only had 170 in this game. So we really didn't pass the ball much. As a matter of fact, Jamal Williams had more rushing yards than Jared Goff had passing yards. 2 touchdowns for Jamal Williams on the ground, 176 yards. And there it is, Pharaoh Brown's breakout game, 7 catches, 81 yards. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown right behind him as we picked up the dub against the Chargers. And then the Seahawks game was probably one of the sloppiest games of the season. Let's look at the turnovers. Yeah, there were 9 combined turnovers in this game. 4 by us, 5 by them. It just wasn't good. Jared Goff had only 2 interceptions, which I thought he threw more than that. I think it was the fumbles that Goff had 2 fumbles. Yeah. And we didn't run the ball well. We didn't pass the ball well. Allen Lazard, though, had his breakout game with 8 catches, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Pharaoh Brown was the number 2 guy. So, yeah, that was an ugly game. I want to say Seahawks, let's go look at their quarterback was Will Levis. He only had 2 interceptions, which is not terrible. And then this game against the Broncos was the game that Jared Goff got hurt. And that's when it felt like the season probably could get away from us. And check this out. DeAndre Swift, the former Detroit Lion, had 190 yards in that game on 19 carries, averaging 10 yards a pop. We couldn't do anything to stop him in that game. And then on our side, we didn't run the ball well. Our leading rusher was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamal Williams only had 50 yards. And then Gardner Minshew had to come in and play quarterback because Goff... Actually, that was Minshew's first full game because Goff got injured in the Seahawks game, I do believe. Yeah, so Minshew really struggled in that game. We couldn't do anything. Yeah, so Goff must have gotten hurt in the Seahawks game in the win. And then we got defeated by the Broncos in our worst game of the season. And then went on and played the Falcons. And the Falcons destroyed us in that game as well. Minshew had 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. And once again, we could not run the ball well. We ran the ball more than we did pass in this game, I do believe. Because we knew that we were going to struggle. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good game. Jameson Williams, Pharaoh Brown. And then you can go down here. Jody Fortson hasn't even been targeted yet. That's the craziest thing is Jody Fortson's still not being targeted. But we lose the Falcons big time. We allow 52 points. And then turn around on Monday Night Football and just destroy the Vikings in our best defensive performance on the year. Gardner Minshew didn't do anything special, but he was very effective. 22 of 31 passing, 171 yards, no interceptions. We ran the ball as well as we could. Allen Lazard, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra, Jody Fortson, though. That's pretty much his breakout game, if that's what you want to call it. 5 catches for 28 yards. And then from that point on, it felt like Jody Fortson kind of took over that tight end role. And then we played against the Ravens, in which I would say, up to this point, was the best game of the season so far. It was a really good game. I think we scored in the last second. Lamar played well, but we threw 2 picks with Jared Goff. I think this was Jared Goff's return game. 276 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. We ran the ball very well in this game. And then receiving, Jameson Williams had his best game of the season. I do believe 6 receptions, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And look, yeah, Fortson, first touchdown there, 5 catches, 39 yards. He's getting volume. And it really was the beginning of Jody Fortson breaking out for us, which I am going to do something soon. And then turned around and played the Vikings and got beat 32-44 in a game where we had the exact same yardage. We just had more turnovers than them, and that's how we lost this game. Jared Goff threw for 355 yards, but had 3 picks, so that's not good. Jamal Williams struggled a little bit. And then look at Jody Fortson, 5 catches, 84 yards. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be doing something for him here in a couple of minutes. So we lose the Vikings, then we turn around and have what I believe is probably the actual best game of the regular season. If not, it's the Baltimore game. Just an amazing game. If you want to go back and rewatch an episode, this would be the episode to watch from the regular season. Look at the yardage here. We didn't turn the ball over. They only turned it over once. It was just clean, great football. And there's really no other no other way that I can tell you how great this game was. It was just such a good game. You look at the passing. Mahomes threw for 443 yards. We threw for 272. And then rushing the ball, that's what we did in this game. We did running the ball well, and they passed the ball well. And looking at receiving, Juju went off with 12 for 170. Travis Kelce, 9 for 94. St. Brown. And then trying to go down here and see, look at Lazard, 5 for 74. Kadarius Toney, 2 for 75. Amon-Ra, 6 for 84. Trying to go down here and see if I can find Jody Fortson. So Jody Fortson got his volume. He got 3 receptions, but only 14 yards. But that game was so good. I think that probably wins game of the year for us. And then we turn around and we played the Bears on Thanksgiving and came away with a 3-point lead. Nothing really happened in this game. It was kind of a defensive battle, if that's what you want to call it. Jared Goff played well. Jamal couldn't hit 70 yards rushing. And Pharaoh Brown finally came back this week. I do know that for sure because he had 5 catches for 20 yards. And Jody Fortson was nowhere to be seen. So that's kind of a telltale sign right there if you want to tell what was going on at that point. And then we took on the Panthers. And when we lost this game, I began to get a little bit concerned. But luckily, we bounced back and we didn't lose the rest of the season, rest of the year. And they had Tanner McKee playing quarterback, and he wore number 20. Just so odd. But this was the worst game. Goff, 238 yards, 0 touchdowns, 5 picks. The worst game of the season for us offensively. Jamal Williams had 146 yards, but not that mattered. And Pharaoh Brown actually had a 110-yard game. So yeah, Jody Fortson nowhere to be seen in that game because Pharaoh Brown was healthy. But it felt like when Pharaoh Brown went down, it gave Jody Fortson the opportunity to step up. Then we take on the Packers. This was the first time we played the Packers on the year. And you could definitely tell that Aaron Rodgers was getting older. 2 picks by Aaron Rodgers, 345 yards though. Goff, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 280. And then Jamal Williams with 120 on the ground. And then here it is, Jody Fortson, 5 catches, 99 yards. Just a breakout performance for him. And then you'll also notice at this point, Amon-Ra St. Brown is injured. He is not playing. So that definitely hurt us in this season to have Amon-Ra go down. But we didn't really miss a step without him. And then you got the Raiders game, which was 22-20, a low-scoring game, and a game where Goff threw 3 interceptions. So not a good game for him. But Jamal Williams did his thing on the ground. And looking at Jody Fortson, he's the guy I keep going back to looking at. But our number 1 receiver in that game was Josh Reynolds with 4 catches for 71 yards. And then Jameson Williams was the number 2 guy, then Fortson. So Josh Reynolds actually led the team receiving 1 time this season, and it was the Raiders game when we won 22-20. I wish that I could just leave off where I was just at. All right, then we played the Packers to try and win the NFC North, and we were successful in doing that on a fake field goal in overtime. This game was just so bizarre. It felt like in the first half I was dominating them, and in the second half I just kind of stopped focusing on the game, and that allowed the Packers to come back and take us to overtime. And luckily, we were able to do our thing. It was Gardner Minshew who threw the game-winning touchdown, 2 interceptions on the day for Goff. And then Blake Corum had his best game of his young career with 92 yards. Jamal Williams had 94. And then Jameson Williams, 112 yards receiving. Alan Lazard also had a touchdown in that game. And like I said, we're without Amon-Ra St. Brown, so we're relying on Jameson Williams heavily at this point. At this point, we had also moved him to the slot. And then Week 18, last game of the season, we took on the Cowboys, and this was our first live stream, and we dominated them 40-18. They had more yards than we did in this game. And honestly, the game was just pretty much dominated due to the fact that we had Aiden Hutchinson go off, which we'll look at the defensive side here in this game. Goff didn't do anything special. Minshew only 56 yards. Blake Corum was 2 yards away from breaking 100 and having his first 100-yard game. I think our starters played for like the first 1 or 2 possessions. That was all. And then you look at defense here. Yeah, and it was, as a matter of fact, I don't even think I had Aiden Hutchinson play in this game. Maybe I did, but I remember that we were taking advantage of their right guard in this game, and we had 5 sacks going up against their right guard. And that's when I felt like, okay, if we play the Cowboys in the playoffs, which we did, which we'll go look at the postseason here. Look at the Giants game just real fast. I'm not going to go through it crazily. But Goff had 3 picks in this game, so we're lucky we didn't go ahead and lose the playoffs. But Geno really struggled in that game. But Goff, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Jamal Williams carried right there. And then Jody Fortson. This is the beginning of him taking over. 8 catches, 62 yards, 3 touchdowns for Fortson in that game. And then you got the Eagles here this game, which we already just looked at, but I kind of wanted to go through and look at what Jody Fortson did. Yeah, 8 for 136, 2 touchdowns. And then the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. What a game this one was. And 325 yards for Goff in this one. Only 85 yards rushing for Jamal Williams, but Jameson Williams actually led the way in this one for 162 yards on the game-winning touchdown reception. And Fortson, you see there. How did the sack numbers look in this game? We only had 1. So it was just a weird game in Week 18 against the Cowboys. And in this game against the Buffalo Bills, we can go ahead and look at Jared Goff put up a good Super Bowl performance. Jamal Williams, a good Super Bowl performance. Amon-Ra, Jody Fortson. And then defensively, I think Aiden Hutchinson is the guy that's going to win Super Bowl MVP. He had 3 sacks, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. So I think he probably won it. We will see once we advance to the next week. But the last thing that I want to look at was individual stats. I kind of want to not take too long, but 9th in offensive yards on the season, 21st in defensive yards. A lot of that was set up by poor play early on. 3rd in points scored with 513, and 26th in points allowed with 459 yards. The one thing I wanted to look at here was probably turnovers, because what was our differential on the year? If it was positive, that's amazing. I think it's going to be negative, though. By how much is the question? -6. We gave the ball away 38 times, which is probably the best I think I've done in any of my franchises. So, not too bad. Jared Goff on the season, 23 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. We already know about that. We saw it in the Super Bowl. He was sacked 35 times, and I feel like the right side of the line is probably the part that was responsible for most of those sacks. Running the ball, Jamal Williams, 342 attempts for 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns. Blake Corum put up 439 yards on the season, so not a bad year for him. And only 1 fumble from Jamal Williams on the season. So, and he played in every game. So did Blake Corum, but the longest run of the season was 75 yards for Jamal Williams. And then receiving here, we had Jameson Williams, 70 receptions for 1,099 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then we had Amon-Ra St. Brown with 89 catches for 1,029 yards and 7 touchdowns. So here's what I'll say. It felt like if Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get injured, he was going to put up 100 receptions. He was going to put up a better year than his 2022 campaign. We look at the season stats here, and if we go in order, look at these numbers. He had a bad game here in Week 5, but then in Week 6, he had a good bounce-back game. Week 7, good bounce-back game. A down week in Week 8, but dominating in Week 9, Week 10, Week 11, Week 12, and Week 14. And then from there, he was out into the playoffs. And then even in the playoffs, the first 2 playoff games, he had no receptions. So it was really unfortunate to see that because he was dominating. The most receptions he had a game was 12 against the Vikings in the loss, and the most yards he had was 139. So yeah, that sucked a little bit. Jameson Williams also was a guy that I feel like could have had 1,500 yards, but he was just so inconsistent. As you look at it, he had games where he had 1 catch, 2 catches, 2 catches, 3 catches, 3 catches, 3 catches, 4 catches. And then he has games where he goes 6, 6, 6. 6, 6, you know. And then the same with the yards, 13, 14, 21, 21, 25, 29. But then you had games where he goes 162, 139, 112, 111, 103. But his best game was against the Cowboys, where he had 162 yards. And that was the game where it mattered. That was in the conference championship. And he came in clutch and won the game for us. And if you go look at his kick return, he had 2 kick returns for touchdowns. And the most yards he had was the Chargers one, where he had a touchdown. Falcons, he had 174 yards. And then the Bills, Super Bowl game, 170 kickoff return yards and a touchdown. Last thing I wanted to look at was Allen Lazard. Really kind of pleased with the way that he played. I don't know what kind of contract we got him on, a 2-year, so he has 2 years remaining. So we would look to bring him back. But he had kind of a consistent year. I would say a consistent year for sure. Did he get a reception in every game? Yeah, it looks like he caught 1 pass in every single game this season. So honestly, that's pretty good. And then his best game was the Seahawks game, where he broke out and he went over 100 yards twice on the season. And then 2 more guys I want to look at here is Pharaoh Brown, as he's 29 years old. And this was the best year of his career by far. And he was a guy that I thought really could just be dominant for us. If we go to week 1, he had a good year to start the season. And when he got injured in week 7, he missed week 8, came back, played, had a couple good games, and then from week 14 on, he did not do anything. And week 14 was a really good game for him, but I believe he got injured in that game. As a matter of fact, if you go back and watch the Panthers game, I'm pretty sure he was injured in that game. So therefore, it's unfortunate to see that one, because Jody Fortson here, who's only 27, by the way he ended the season here, it's going to be so bizarre to say this. The fact that he didn't play in 2022, in 2023, 27 catches for 315 yards and a touchdown. It'd be so bizarre for me to say that, yeah, this guy is now going to be upgraded to a better development. You'd be like, that's crazy. But the way that he played, you just had to watch him play. He was dominant. Week 8, 9, 10, 11, and 8, 9, and 10, and 11, he was out there playing. Jody Fortson came back. I mean, not Jody Fortson. Pharaoh Brown came back, so he left the field. And then as soon as Pharaoh Brown left for the second time, Jody Fortson was never going to give that position back up. Fortson went just off. He had a couple games where he struggled. Week 17, week 18, he didn't really do anything. But he just went off in the playoffs. And I believe that would be enough to reward this guy with some upgrade points. So here's what I'm going to do. He is normal dev. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to edit player. And I think the best way to be fair is if I make him star. If I make him star development, I believe that is fair for him. Because if somebody really went off and had a crazy playoff run, the way that Jody Fortson did in real life, the next Madden, they would definitely be star or superstar development. I would bet money on it. So star development is what we're going to give Jody Fortson. I believe that is fair. And then I wish I could get a controller that's not as loud when I move it. It's pretty annoying. But sacks. Penei Sewell is responsible for 18 sacks. That's not good. If we look at his player card here, he is superstar development. He's too good to let go. I think that it's not his fault that he gave up so many sacks, but at the same time, he needs to improve for sure. Nothing else to look at there, but Anthony Walker Jr., though, 175 tackles. That is just amazing. 14 tackles for loss, 19 for Aiden Hutchinson. And look at the sacks, 12 for Aiden Hutchinson, but right behind him, which isn't impressive, 6.5 sacks by Drew Sanders. And then third is Xavier Thomas, who barely even played. We can go over to his downs played, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, only 199 downs played, and he was our third best sack player. So, kind of started to think about what do you want to do with Xavier Thomas. He doesn't fit our build, but I think that if we could move him over to outside linebacker, he could be pretty good there. But, so we look at the stacks there, and it was Aiden Hutchinson who had a 12-sack season, but at the same time, he is not superstar X Factor, by the way. At the same time, he did not play the full season. He missed. He played the first 4 weeks, then was out until week 8. Came back in week 8, and then was out until week 12. And then from that point on, he was healthy the rest of the way through. And the games that he played in, he had a couple of them where he didn't have a sack. So I was about to say, so he had 4 games where he didn't have a sack. But you can't really count the Cowboys game because pretty sure I took him out after 1 defensive series. And you look at interceptions here, 5 for Sean Murphy-Bunting, 5 for Christian Gonzalez, 2 for Anthony Walker Jr., 2 for Kirby Joseph, 2 for Trey Dean, 1 for Deshaun Elliott, 1 for Okuda, and 1 for Romeo Okwara. Pass deflections, 21 for Sean Murphy-Bunting. I'm surprised he hasn't been upgraded to maybe a superstar, but I want to bring him back for sure. I don't know who all we're going to be losing, but he had a really good season. Forced fumbles on the season, 3 for Anthony Walker, 2 for Tracy Walker, Aiden Hutchinson with 2, Xavier Thomas with 2, Deshaun Elliott with 1, Christian Gonzalez with 1, Alex Anzalone with 1, Kirby Joseph with 1, Drew Sanders with 1, and Josh Pascal with 1. And in recoveries, not going to go through them all, but Deshaun Elliott and Malcolm Rodriguez with 2 apiece. And then blocks, we know Ugo Amadi had 2, and Jerry Jacobs had 2. Safeties, I don't think we had a safety on the season. Defensive touchdowns, though, 2 for Christian Gonzalez, 1 for Deshaun Elliott, 1 for Malcolm Rodriguez, 1 for Anthony Walker Jr., 1 for Kirby Joseph, 1 for Julian Okwara, and 1 for Sean Murphy-Bunting. And the player that played the most downs defensively for us was Sean Murphy-Bunting. Kicking, this was impressive right here. Quinn Nordine was 43 of 44 on extra points made and 37 of 38 on field goals made, which I think that the attempts probably blows everybody else in the NFL out of the water. Yeah, it does, by far. So Quinn Nordine with a dominant season, and he had the longest field goal by 4 yards. But that is going to do it. We can actually go ahead and look at your league leaders real quick if you want. We had 4 guys who threw for over 5,000 yards. Jacoby Brissett is one of them. Touchdowns, we had 4 guys who had over 40 touchdown passes. And, of course, we led the league in interceptions. But look at Aaron Rodgers with 22. And then rushing here. We led the league in rushing yards by almost 100 yards, but we also had 21 more rush attempts than the second place guy. We didn't lead in touchdowns at all. And then receiving, you see Michael Pittman with 114. I believe that Amon-Ra St. Brown would have been the number 1 receiver had he not gotten hurt. But that is just about it. We can look at the sack leaders here. Max Crosby had 24. TJ Watt, 23, crazy. Yeah, that's about everything that I wanted to look at here. So with that being said, we are about 33 minutes into the live stream here. We need to get some viewers in here, man. This is not looking good. If we look at the X Factor database here for us. Also, I forgot to mention in the Super Bowl, but after our NFC Championship game, Christian Gonzalez was given X Factor. So Christian Gonzalez, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Aiden Hutchinson are our X Factors with Panay Sewell at Superstar. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just advance week. So that is everything that we needed to talk about as we recapped this season. So let's advance weeks here and see what we're looking at. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the 2023 season recap. This right here will show us who won Super Bowl MVP. So Super Bowl MVP is Aiden Hutchinson. We kind of expected it as he was dominant in that game. Like I said, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and that is Detroit's very first Super Bowl championship. In their first NFC championship in the same year. So we beat the Bills 36-17. Remember, in the first year that we simmed, it was the Niners who won 19-14. And as a matter of fact, 31-9, Bucks versus Chiefs. That reminded me a lot of this game right here. You got the NFL MVP as Josh Allen. Aaron Rodgers was the MVP that season. But it just feels like Josh Allen was the NFL MVP. And we came into the Super Bowl and we dominated them. Coach of the Year was Ramiro Gallo, the head coach for the Commanders, and they were a first game exit in the playoffs. Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Bryce Young was Rookie of the Year, and Will Anderson was Defensive Rookie of the Year. with Aiden Hutchinson winning Super Bowl MVP, which is fitting. He is the thumbnail for this live video. So that's something we all pretty much knew. And then we can view weekly awards. Jared Goff and Aiden Hutchinson. So Jared Goff was the offensive MVP in that game. And there's their MVPs as well. So with that being said, I think we need to go ahead and upgrade these players here. I think I'll probably just let it automatically upgrade all these guys. There's nobody that on here that I'm really wanting to upgrade myself. Maybe Sean Murphy Bunting, but we'll just let it do an auto upgrade. So, but with that being said, we got manage staff, manage roster, staff moves. So let's see if anybody got hired. So yeah, just the one guy. So this stuff we've already seen. So we can go ahead and move past this screen here and advance to the re-sign player screen and take a look about who we can bring back and who we can't. First, let's take a look at mock draft 3. Since we're Super Bowl champs, we would have the number 32 pick in the draft. So don't expect too much. Victor Randolph, he was the FCS Player of the Year, projected to go number 2 overall. Bill Kendrick, Shane Wilbur, Matt Mickens. So he's the guy that I really want. I really want Matt Mickens. So we're going to continue to have to look at the mock draft. Once mock draft 5 comes out, wherever Matt Mickens is at, we may try to move up to get him. I really want to get him. But if he is not available, let's see what they have us selecting with the last pick. They would have us taking Devin Bell out of Michigan. Probably not going to do that, but we'll take a look at Devin Bell. If we could have a Jody Fortson and Devin Bell combination out there, just kind of depends on, he's got a run block. He's got good to great speed, so he actually looks like he could be pretty solid. He's projected to go 3 to 4. Big guy. He's a big tight end, but we'll take that with a grain of salt for now. Let's wait until mock draft 5 comes out, and then we'll kind of go from there. And then let's go ahead and view the 2023 NFL retirements, and let's go to the Lions and see, do we have anybody? No, we do not. Go to the Steelers real quick. Cameron Hayward retires, and then last but not least, the Packers. Does Aaron Rodgers call it a career? He does. So Aaron Rodgers has probably his worst season of his career, and he decides he's going to call it quits. And we'll keep an eye on our screen here to make sure nobody retires, but we're a young team. We probably shouldn't have to worry about that. So do we have holes in our staff? So we need to get a new offensive coordinator, and who do we want to bring in? Because I think whoever we bring in is what I would change the playbook to. So this could be an interesting thing here. We got Brian Warner, which his offensive playbook is Matt Rule's. Defensive playbook is Mike Tomlin's. Interesting. Run and shoot here for Walker Weiss. Then you got Chicago, Wade Bridges. So these are guys that we could deal with. I like this guy because he spent time with Mike Tomlin. I think that he gives us one of the best hiring bonuses. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take Brian Warner as our new offensive coordinator. And what I think we might do is we might go ahead and switch our offense to Matt Rule's Carolina Panthers offense. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll be interesting, and it would be fun. So what do we got to do here? Team schemes, potentially. Offensive playbook. We'll continue to go with... So there we go. Let's go Matt Rule's playbook here. But we'll continue to go with the typical Detroit defense. And go ahead and save that. Get out of there. Let's make sure that it's saved real quick, because it's just kind of funky how it doesn't tell you that it would save or not. Yeah, so Matt Rule's offensive playbook, which that would be really interesting. And it'd almost be motivating to continue this series. So with that being said, let's go to players ready to negotiate, and let's see who we would have to worry about bringing back. So we got Roshan Johnson. All right, so there's the guys that we're really focused on. So Jeff Okudah is probably the number one guy that I think we would look to bring back. Now, here's the thing. What does he want? He has really no interest in re-signing. He wants a lot of money as well. I would almost say Jeff Okudah, let's go ahead and... Man, I really like Okudah as well. Let's go ahead and withdraw offer for David Blau. Not really interested in bringing him back. Ronnie Bell, let's go ahead and negotiate a 2-year. Let's go 1 year, $1.4 million deal. And he wants to play for a new team, so... All right, man. Pharaoh Brown. Because of the injuries, I'm not interested in bringing Pharaoh Brown back. Taco Charlton. I guess we could bring Taco back. I like Taco. Let's see. And he thinks free agency would be better for him. Quinn Nordine, of course, we would love to bring him back. Let's go 2 years. Let's go 4 years. And let's go $3.5 million. So we got Quinn Nordine back. That's good to see. Roshan Johnson. When he did play, I did like the way that he played, but I'm not going to give him a crazy deal. We'll go like this, and if he wants to play, then he can play. If he doesn't really want to. Taco, we got these guys right here. David Blau. Jeff Okudah here. Let's go 4 year, 4.5, and then we'll go with 3.5 signing bonus. Yeah. Kind of typical. I wouldn't expect that. Let's see what the franchise tag would be. 22 mil. Not going to do that. Jonah Jackson, though, at 27 years old, I'm going to give him a 3-year deal worth 5 mil with a $4.5 million signing bonus. And we will keep Jonah Jackson. So I'm going to make sure we can keep that offensive line together because they are really what pieces this team together. Okora has limited interest in re-signing. Now, with that being said, I would be interested in bringing him back on a 2-year deal worth $4.5 with a $3.5 million signing bonus. And he said he enjoyed playing with Dan Campbell, but he's going to look for a new team. Josh Reynolds, not interested. Julian Okwara, if his brother is walking, I'm not going to try and convince him to come back. Khalif Raymond, not going to convince you. Ugo Amadi, though, I do like Ugo Amadi. If we can bring him back on like a $2.5 million deal, something like this maybe. Yeah, we'll get Ugo Amadi back. I do like him, and he could potentially be our slot corner coming up. Jerry Jacobs, not going to bring him back. Matt Pryor, we did interesting things with him, and I think he is a very solid backup. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get Matt Pryor. Yeah, he was a solid backup for us. Logan Stenberg, he's interested in coming back. I think we could probably honestly just do something like this. Wait. So he's not interested in signing. That's interesting. Jason Kabinda at fullback. I don't know that we're going to need a fullback anymore. So it's honestly a risk. Yeah. I don't know what the playbook looks like, really. Spencer Pulley was a good backup center for us, so we're going to go ahead and just give him a small deal like this and bring back Spencer Pulley. As for the rest of these guys, I think they're all franchise tag players or guys that we're just not interested in. There's 4 players that are still looking to negotiate that we didn't even negotiate with. Josh Reynolds, he's not even interested. Yeah, so that's it. That is it for re-signing players. We brought back, who did we even bring back? All right, let's go look at the transactions. All right. So we re-signed Spencer Pulley, we re-signed Matt Pryor, re-signed Ugo Amadi, re-signed Jonah Jackson, re-signed Quinn Nordine to a ridiculous deal of 4-year, $18 million. Jonah Jackson was given a 3-year, $28.5 million contract, and Ugo Amadi, 2-year, $8 million deal. Not bad. Not bad if I do say so myself. And what does that make our roster look like here? 65 out of 75 players. Mock draft 3, view retirements, players are getting ready to negotiate. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to advance to free agency week number, or free agency 1. And hopefully we can get through this and it doesn't take super long, because my cutoff time for this live stream is 2 hours. So come on, man, we need to see more views in here. Let's go. see combine results here. So this is interesting because did we want to go quarterback is the big thing. So Jason Berry, let's see what he ran. He ran a 4.92 in the combine. Elite strength. So he's not an athlete. I don't want to not have an athlete. Here's Victor Randolph, who won FCS Player of the Year. He ran a 4.77, so that's very solid. His speed is solid. Here's Bill Kendricks here, or Bill Kendrick, I should say. He ran a 4.65, so he's a improviser. He's 6'1", 234. Not a big fan of the height. I wish he was a little taller. He's got good speed. He's a very athletic quarterback, Bill Kendrick is. He would be somebody I'd be interested in taking potentially. Let's go ahead and look at Matt Mickens. He's the guy that I really would like, and his talent grade is getting to be higher now. He ran a 4.64 40-yard dash, 14 bench reps, had a vertical jump of 33.6 inches, broad jump of 10 feet 1 inch, and pretty good. So 4.64 40. That's fourth in the quarterback class. I gotta say, this guy looks like what I would want. I'm gonna be honest with you. Matt Mickens. And is there anybody else that probably ran faster than him? They would probably be improviser like an Antoine Griffey here out of Marshall. So he didn't even run that fast, so that's interesting. Maybe Cole Knott. So he ran a 4.63. Clark Bundy, so no relation to Ted Bundy, I hope. He ran a 4.56, so that's actually very fast. 6'1", 215 pounds. And so I don't know who the fastest guy was. But Matt Mickens is the guy that I'm genuinely interested in here. So we may pull the trigger on him if we have to trade up. We don't need a running back. We don't need a wide receiver. But that tight end, who was that tight end? Devin Bell out of Michigan. What did he run? He's 6'5". He ran a 4.71, so he's actually got some great speed. He's strong. Man, it would be really hard not to just hold on and just draft Devin Bell because he looks very good. So we got a lot to think about. I'm not going to look too deep at these prospects right this second. Let's get into other things real quick. And so we have 53 players on the current roster. See combine results. So the only thing we need to do here is sign some free agents. What do we need is the question here. Before we go, I'm going to get my little pad out here. Actually, you can probably just write it down. What would we need? Let's kind of like keep it in our head. We don't need a quarterback right now. We don't necessarily need a running back right now. We probably need a fourth receiver, but I'm not going to pull the trigger and try and get somebody in free agency necessarily. We're probably going to need a tight end. Left tackle we're good on. Let's get a backup left guard. So I don't know. Let's go. Back up wide receiver. Back up left guard. Let's go left end here. I think we are pretty solid on. I'm happy with our left ends there. Right ends. Let's go ahead and get a right end. Maybe we get somebody that's dominant. Defensive tackle. I think we could bring in like a fourth D tackle. Left outside linebacker. We got two guys that can compete for a spot. I'm not interested in really bringing anybody in necessarily right now. Middle linebacker. Right outside linebacker. We need a corner. Safety, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. And then we could probably use... I think that's it, really, for free agency at least. So let's go ahead and look at some free agents and see. I didn't even see who the top available were right now. So Dexter Lawrence is probably the number one guy here. And sitting at 6'4", 342 pounds with a little bit of interest in us, it's honestly hard not to try and throw out an offer to him. You see, Herbert is interested in us, which is interesting. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not going to go after Herbert just for the fact that I don't want to bring in Herbert. Looking at the rest of these guys, we got Trevon Diggs is a little bit interested in us, which he would be a crazy guy to bring in, but I think we got 2 corners that I'm satisfied in. Stephon Gilmore. So here's Ed Oliver here. He's a guy that's more interested in us. He's not really fitting exactly what we want to do, but I feel like he would bump Aleem McNeil down, which I wouldn't want to see. But I think it's better to have too much than it is to have too little. So, and then you got Bobby Wagner, but at 34 years old, I don't know that I'd be interested in bringing him in. So let's go Ed Oliver here. Let's see what he's just thinking about. I think at 26 years old, I'd be willing to do 4-year, $5 million deal with a $7.5 million signing bonus. Let's go ahead and send that contract offer in. And Dexter Lawrence, I would be interested in it, but yeah, that right there probably is going to get us a chance to sign him. So let's go to backup wide receiver. So we would need like a fourth receiver, nothing serious. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Could you bring the Michigan guy into Detroit? Van Jefferson, not interested. Quez Watkins, he would be very fun. Oh, what did I just do? Yeah, okay, so Quez Watkins would be really fun. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones I would have more fun with. He is probably... The thing is, I don't need a Donovan Peoples-Jones, or maybe a Quez Watkins would be nice. But for Donovan Peoples-Jones, he deserves to start, and he's probably not going to start with given our top 3 receivers at the moment. So Quez Watkins, though, probably could get an opportunity. You got Jawan Jennings. Let's go. Let's wait for now. I don't think that there's really a big need right there. Backup left guard, I think. And Eric Flowers to play on a 1-year deal could be really good for us. So we'll go ahead and offer Eric Flowers on a 1-year deal. A right end. So there's Romeo Okwara. We have AJ Espinosa, who is interested in us. And I'm kind of interested in him. Robert Quinn here at 34 years old, not really interested in that, but I am interested in AJ Espinosa out of Iowa. We can give him a 2-year deal worth 2.7 and see if we could get a deal done there. So we're up there with the Vikings. We probably have to increase it a little. So that was totally planned to happen, and I totally forgot about it. So my reaction probably was funny. At least I hope it was. And You may be seeing that one on the YouTube Shorts. I'll take advantage of that one. So that's why I didn't panic and get up, because I knew it wasn't a huge deal. So where were we at? We were going to look at potentially bringing in a slot corner here. You got Jordan Lewis, and I think he would be fun to have in a slot. He's a Michigan guy, but I don't want to turn them into the Detroit Wolverines. So we're going to hold off on that as well. I'm done with free agency at this point. Let's go to the people that I've targeted. So let's go ahead and evaluate these offers. And we signed them all. So we got Ed Oliver coming in on a huge deal. AJ Espinosa coming in, and Eric Flowers coming in. I'm gonna be honest with you, we got $33.3 million to spend. I'm probably gonna be done. So let's go to us, and I'll give you a formal showing at what our contract looks like. And we signed Ed Oliver to a 4-year, $50 million contract. Eric Flowers to a 1-year, $2.5 million contract, and AJ Espinosa to a 2-year, $11.6 million contract. So some really good deals there for us. And what we're going to do from here is we're just going to go ahead and advance to stage 2 of free agency. And we will look at mock draft 4 to see what that is looking like. All right, so where is the man Matt Mickens? So they still got Matt Mickens going to Houston. I don't want to see that happen. And they still have us taking tight end Devin Bell. So we can go ahead and look at the college pro day results. The only 2 guys that I really want to look at, and that is Matt Mickens, to see how well he did in his pro day. He ran about the same speed. He had more bench pressing reps. He had about the same vertical jump. His broad jump was worse, but now number 1. His 3-cone drill was consistent. This is a guy who just is consistent all across the board. I really like Matt Mickens. I think that this dude is somebody that I would trade up for, which sounds crazy enough. I think I would do it. We would have to include a good package. I don't know what that would look like, but to trade up to 11, we would have to do something crazy. And here's Devin Bell. Let's go ahead and look at him. Once again, he's a consistent guy as well. He's an athletic, strong tight end that I would love to have, but I think it'd be more interesting to pull in Matt Mickens and kind of just see what the future would look like in Detroit. Before we do that, though, I am interested in one thing, and that is, how old is Jared Goff? He's been in the league 8 years now, and he's 29 years old. He'll be going into his age 30 season. I don't know that he can keep up what he's doing for much longer, but he would still be the starting quarterback. Matt Mickens would be a guy that just sits behind Jared Goff, and we just he's a project guy, and see what happens with him. And I think that I would be willing to definitely do that. So going into signing free agents here, is there anybody that's still left that is currently interested in us, who I would be interested in trying to bring in? You got Folorunski Futukasi, interesting name there. You got Trent Brown, which I couldn't see myself bringing him in just because we're kind of good there. Jordan Lewis, though, I am going to go ahead and give him a 2-year deal worth $2.5 million, the $1.5 million signing bonus, make people compete for a starting spot. Taylor Lewan as well is interested in us. Michael Carter interested. Andrew Van Ginkel. Gus Edwards could be a number 3 running back for us. J.K. Dobbins is interested. That's interesting. Do we maybe go J.K. Dobbins here at age 25? You know, that would make for something a little interesting. So look at Amani Arourier is interested again. Javon Hargrave there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Donovan Peoples-Jones is still on the board. I think if he was still there, I would be interested in maybe bringing him in. But for now, there's only a couple guys that are really interested in coming here. I think we could bring him in. Not that kind of deal. I think a 1 year. No, I couldn't give him. I could not give him a deal like this. It would have to be something like this. And if he wanted to take it, he could take it. There would be no pressure to take it. And then the last one would be maybe for a J.K. Dobbins, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know that I could do that. So let's go ahead. Did we sign? So we did. We signed Jordan Lewis. So Jordan Lewis will more than likely be our slot corner. Futukasi does not sign. Did he sign? He does. So we do bring in Fatukasi. Is it Fatukasi? Looks like we got one viewer in here. So what's going on? We're just doing kind of like a series finale here for our Lions franchise. So that's going to be it for free agency 2. Let's just go ahead and advance week as we have 58 players on the active roster now. Fifth-year options. Let's see which ones are available. It says Penei Sewell has shown a lot of talent, and I think he's 90 overall, but he gave up a lot of sacks. But obviously, that's on me a little bit. I drift way too far back. So we will go ahead and pick up his fifth-year option. Unlike what we did with Jeff Okudah going into this season we just played, we don't want to do that. So Penei Sewell's fifth-year option will be picked up. We're into the last free agency signing period. Let's go look at our running back room real quick. And we'll look at our receiving room as well. So Jamal Williams would be the number 1 guy. But if we had a J.K. Dobbins, that could make it very interesting. And looking at receiving, would Allen Lazard and Donovan Peoples-Jones battle it out for that 4 spot? You know, that's the thing, is if we could bring in DPJ or Quez Watkins, whichever one would be cheaper. Quez Watkins gives us I think they're actually gone now. So looking at running backs, yeah, the guys that we were interested in. We waited too long. Not really bothered. Corey Davis, we could bring him in. It would depend on how much we're looking at per year. We also got Robbie Anderson, who I don't think I would bring Robbie in. You got Josh Reynolds, could bring him back. Scotty Miller, Jawan Jennings, Miles Boykin. I do want to go down here real quick. Gotta try and find him. Kenny Galladay's dropped off big time. Trent Irwin, Trent Sherfield, Tylan Wallace. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Maybe we can go like just filter this way. Ronnie Bell. Let's go ahead and just give him a 2-year deal worth $2 million and see if he accepts it in this last free agency period. We have the money to just offer him, so might as well. Did we get him? We did. So Ronnie Bell will be back with us. That's good to see. Didn't really want to see him leave. And with our cap room sitting at $25.6 million, I don't think that there's anything else left for us to do. Maybe the Cordero Patterson would be fun to bring to Detroit and just kind of see what we could do with him just a little bit. Let's go with 1-year deal worth $1.7 million. Just a cheap deal. And let's see if he would accept this. This would be interesting to kind of bring Cordero Patterson into the mix and see if we could have some fun with him. And we are. So Patterson is coming to Detroit. I'm a big fan of him on a really cheap deal, but it would be fun to have somebody like him around and see what we could do. So let's advance week one last time here. And we'll see mock draft 5. So view free agency recap. Don't really need to see that. We got the scout for private workouts. We got trade offer here for Devon Hamilton. So Devon Hamilton is a guy that. So we traded for Devon Hamilton, if you guys remember. We traded for him and got him last year, but with the signing of Ed Oliver, would we think about trading Devon Hamilton? But you got to think, if they're trying to go 1-for-1, no offense to us, that probably is telling me that he's not worth a number 11 draft pick, which Houston has. So we'll have to see what the game plan is. But looking at mock draft 5, let's go ahead and look at it, and we'll see what it is looking like. So this is what I don't understand. They got Houston going Bill Kendrick and then going Matt Mickens 5 picks later. What is wrong with this game? So with that being said, I don't know that they would actually take Matt Mickens at number 11, but that would just be that would be so stupid. So should we wait until we get into the draft and try and make a trade with Houston? I think that would probably be the plan. That we wait until we're in the draft, and then we pause when Houston's on the board, and then we trade and see what we can get. We'd have to get something. So what we're going to do now is we could look at the free agency recap, see where the top guys went. Dexter Lawrence going to the Bears. Herbert goes to the Giants. Lindstrom goes to the Colts. Rashawn Gary to the Bears, so switching to his division rivals. We could have tried and gotten him too, but as a matter of fact, Dexter Lawrence going to the Bears, that defensive line is going to be stacked. Mike Evans to the Colts. Trayvon Diggs to the Jets. Pittman to the Texans. Ayuk to the Falcons. Gardner Johnson back to the Saints. So that's interesting. Wouzier to the Texans. Tua to the Panthers. Gilmore to the Seahawks. Grover Stewart to the Bears. And then Ed Oliver was our number 1 guy. And then kind of rest of the guy. DeAndre Swift goes to Buffalo. A.J. Dillon to New York. So Curtis Samuel and A.J. Dillon both going there. Jeff Okudah going to the Saints. So hated to really see Okudah leave, but he's going to a place where I think he wants to be. Jonah Williams here. Jordan Poyer. J.K. Dobbins goes to the Jaguars. Clowney goes to the Saints. Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Falcons. Cordero Patterson there, you see. Devontae Parker. Finally, we see a Steelers pickup here. But yeah, Gus Edwards still on the market as well. So, scouting for private workouts. Let's do this, and let's go ahead and select a couple players here. Don't need to select any of these quarterbacks because we pretty much know everything that we need to know about them. But I will say that maybe we do look at one of these guys just because it would be nice to get that full scouting report on them. Josh Tiller. So here's what I'm going to do. We got Josh Tiller here, who's a potential undrafted free agent. And then we got these guys as well. Before I do that, I'm going to look at prospects. And I'm going to go ahead and look and see what their athletic ability is looking like on these guys. So DeMarcus Medlock is the first guy. We already looked at him. He's a strong arm quarterback. Very slow. Wouldn't really necessarily be interested in DeMarcus Medlock. Now, Greg Barnett, though, they're saying he's the best quarterback out of Ole Miss since Eli Manning. No, I'm just kidding. That's hypotheticals there. Elite strength, great throwing power. I don't want a slow quarterback. That's the one thing that I will say. I don't really like a slow quarterback. So the last guy we had to look at here was Josh Tiller out of Northern Illinois. He's a strong arm quarterback, and he's also pretty slow. So let's go to Tiller. Let's see what he's looking like here skills-wise. His accuracies are all pretty decent. I think that the guy that I would have to go with, though, would probably be... Was DeMarcus Medlock the Heisman winner? Was he? Let's go look. I think because DeMarcus Medlock might have been the Heisman winner. We can't even look. Let's go to Marcus Medlock. That's who we'll go with. He's 6'3", 241. He's a big guy. You also got Greg Barnett, which would be like a bigger dude. Let's go Greg Barnett. Let's go down here to tight end Devin Bell. And then last but not least, we'll go... What do we want to go with here? Do we maybe go wide receiver? I don't really know. Let's go look at something that we're currently scouting. Because I don't know what the CPU decided it was going to scout. So defensive tackles. What else was it scouting? So it was scouting middle linebackers. It would be nice to have a better middle linebacker. None of these guys are really worth looking at here. Corners it was not looking at. We do know a little bit about this Cecil Bankston. But let's go ahead and we'll go D tackle. Let's get somebody that we're going to be solid on. Let's go Jaden Lowry, 6'3", 290. Yeah, let's just do this, and we'll go with that. Quarterback, tight end, defensive tackle, and that will be our focus scouting. Mock draft number 5, view free agency recap. We have those trade offers for Devon Hamilton, but here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and simulate right into the draft here. Let's see, will Matt Mickens go off the board? All right. Scout college players. No need to do that anymore. So let's go with the start drafting. And let's go ahead and pause this draft. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to skip ahead by pick, advance to the next pick. So Eddie Amaya is the #1 draft pick out of UCF going to the Cardinals. Let's go to next pick. Victor Randolph goes to the Jets out of Jacksonville State. So the thing is, if Matt Mickens gets selected before we were able to trade, then we will not trade. We will go with probably that tight end. So Jason Berry out of Tulane goes to the Rams. So advance to the next pick. Larry Hyde out of UCF. So UCF with 2 defensive linemen going to, and both of them going in the top 5. So Ravens on the clock now. And they go David Peoples, right tackle out of Oklahoma. And here's the Texans, their first selection. And they go Bill Kendrick. Now, I could not imagine that they actually go Matt Mickens next. Skip ahead in the draft. Packers will go Randy Spears. So it's interesting that their philosophy doesn't change, knowing that Rodgers is now retired. So next pick, Trayvon Hatchett. Now we got the New England Patriots on the board, and they got Alex Taylor out of LSU. Here are the Colts, and they go Ross Gay. So from here, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't make a trade here with Houston. Let's go Texans, and we'll go with their draft pick right here. Oh, I'm tripping. All right. And we would give them our number 32 and our #1 next year. And would we include Devon Hamilton? So they need a center, a free safety, quarterback. What's their free safety situation looking like? Obviously, I would not give them Goff. That would probably be just ridiculous. But if we went free safety route, but I think that even then, I feel like the best would be if I gave them Devon Hamilton. So if we gave them Devon Hamilton, a first this year and our first next year for number 11 pick, I think that would be somewhat fair. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and submit this trade to the Texans. And the trade was accepted. So, monumental trade here. We received the 11th pick in this year's draft, and we gave up the 32nd pick. We gave up the 19th pick for next year, so 2025 first round, and Devon Hamilton. With bringing in out Ed Oliver, I felt comfortable in being able to do that. So, we're on the clock here. And I think at this point, everybody in the world knows who we're going with. And it says talent is round 2 to 3, but this has changed so much. It's changed from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, but I think that his athleticism just is super exciting. And we look at his player notes. He abandons initial reads in favor of the check down. Beautiful spiral on all of his passes. Stands tall in the pocket and is always aware of pressure. That's a big thing. Does well to avoid sacks by throwing the ball away. Another big thing. Loves to run and play outside of structure. That makes it fun. Fast shot put style, 3-quarter motion, throwing motion. He's a scrambler archetype. He's 6'3", 217 pounds, 22 years old, out of Dayton. That's another reason I really want this guy. He's out of Dayton. You look at his athleticism. It's all good to great. There's nothing less than good. Good throw power, good strength, good speed, and an elite jumping, great change of direction, great agility, and great acceleration. And his athleticism, if you see his NFL Combine and College Pro Day, he is top 5 in everything. And number 1 at multiple things. You look at his skills. The only thing is he has F stiff arm, C deep accuracy, and D trucking. Other than that, everything else is A and B across the board. And D injury, but quarterbacks don't get injured in this game. With him being around 2 to 3 true talent, I think that this would give us an opportunity to let him develop behind Jared Goff, Super Bowl winning quarterback. So with that being said, Matt Mickens is going to be drafted in the 11th overall by us. 84 speed for Matt Mickens, 90 throw power, 88 acceleration, 66 strength. Yeah, I think that we drafted the guy that we wanted. He's got to take those earrings out, though, if he wants to be starting for this team in the future. So Matt Mickens is the draft pick. And from there, I think that we just are going to skip ahead to our next user pick because I'm not going to go through all of this. And so our next pick is round 2, pick 32. Let's see. This would be interesting because if that tight end is on the board, then we're set up to take him. Yeah, we are. So Devin Bell is the guy we're taking here. This is an easy decision, I believe. He's a good run blocking tight end, and it would pay to have a really good second good tight end. He's fast. He's got elite strength, great speed, and I feel like he's about just everything you want. He needs to work on simple concentration drops. He's got exceptional body control on the sidelines. Fights for every single inch as a runner. No issue climbing the ladder to make catches. Avoids big hits following catches. Excels at creating yards after the catch, and lacks discipline, resulting in unavoidable penalties. Out of Michigan, it's only fitting, and we got a hidden development player. 84 speed, 77 strength. What can I say? We're just good at finding the raw talent. So big pick up there. We got another Bell out of Michigan, and we're going to skip ahead now to our next user pick. And I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't scout at all in this franchise throughout the season. I never scouted these guys. I looked at Matt Mickens a couple of times. That's why I was so thrilled to take him. He's out of Dayton, pretty much my hometown. So that's about the only guy I looked at. So the fact we have 2 hidden development players is pretty nice, if I do say so. In this pick, I do want to go D tackle since we traded away Devon Hamilton. So Rakeem Bell here, or Rakeem Dell. He's the guy that we have the most scouting on, and I think that he doesn't really look that good, I'm going to be honest with you. Awareness, C. Injury is probably the only thing that would be, anything decent. We do have James Joseph up here, and he doesn't look good either. Are there any big defensive ends? Are there any guys up here that will have more B's and C's than anything? What about Julius Howe at 6'5", 313? He's got C's there. And it looks better than... It looks like somebody that could develop. And it's you can call me crazy. Why would you take Julius Howe in the 3rd round when he's a projected, undrafted free agent? Well, let's see. He's got 93 strength, 70 speed. He's a big guy. He's a development type of guy. He's only 21 years old. His overall is probably in the mid-60s. But I think that he was the only guy that by those top 4 that looked like he had anything worth taking. So we'll advance to the next user pick. That was probably a dumb pick. You guys would probably assume so. Now let's go ahead and take our next selection here. Is there anybody that we have somewhat good completion on? We got a good completion on Rakeem Dell. Would we go back-to-back D tackles? Probably not. He doesn't look like he's that good. I don't know what we would really go with here. We could try wide receiver. 5'8", 185 for Chris Amaya. Don't really know his speed. He ran a 4.28. He's a little guy. You also got Cortland Hodge out of Ohio State. And he's a little guy. He's got some speed on him as well. Leslie Cleveland. We've already taken somebody out of Washington State. I don't think we would take another guy. We got Kaylavon Hopkins. I think that's probably how you would say it. Kaylavon Hopkins. Playmaker Trey Nichols, 5'11", 209. So this guy, the playmaker archetype is interesting to me. What does that mean for him? So we don't have any carrying, says C to F, ball carrying vision there. So Trey Nichols, is he the only guy that's had the playmaker archetype up here? Yeah, pretty much. So I wonder if that playmaker archetype is like that Deebo Samuel archetype. But you got Carlos Amaya here out of William and Mary. He's 5'8", 185. Would this be a guy that we could be interested in doing like running back stuff with? He's very fast. His carrying is B to D. His ball carrying vision is B to D. You know what? I'm going to go with Trey Nichols, and he's got the playmaker archetype. I think that he would be somebody that's just an interesting project guy. This whole entire draft class has pretty much been project guys. So Trey Nichols is the pick. He's got 90 speed, 5'11", 209 out of Penn State, 23 years old. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be fun. And let's go advance to the next user pick. We do have a 5th here. So we're hopefully wrap this draft up here in 7 minutes, and then we can maybe hop into practice for a second. Free safeties, all projected UDFAs. Corners. We got some day 3 guys here. Here's Justin Smith, a day 3 corner. He's a slot corner. Let's actually just look. Man coverage, DD. Zone coverage here for Kyrie. I think Kyrie was probably the best out of these, but I'm not too sure. Jonathan Hunter, left outside linebacker. Let's just go Isaiah Giles. And we will have the power. Didn't mean to do that. We will have the power to select the Mr. Irrelevant in this draft, I'm pretty sure as well. So I don't think we gave up our 7th. So what do we go with here? Do we go with Jonathan Hunter? He's a guy that's sitting here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get him. Jonathan Hunter is the pick there. And Mr. Irrelevant, we get to choose who it is. Yep, here we go. So our selection for Mr. Irrelevant, who are we going to go with? I think the one receiver out of William & Mary is now off the board, so I would not go with him. Let's look at these quarterbacks. Let's see short accuracy, medium accuracy, deep accuracy. This is Darren Patterson. He looks old. 21 years old out of Texas A&M. Pretty decent speed-wise. Deep back, you see all of his accuracies here. He's not great, but we do know. Okay. Cole Knott out of Wyoming. Everything looks like a C, so I think a Cole Knott would be pretty fun, I feel like. You also got Kerry Connor out of Washington State. He's also got some speed. Throw on the run under pressure is D. I think one of the big things is the throw under pressure. So D for Gary Connor. Let's look at Cole Knott and see what his is at. His is C. So we're going to take Cole Knott, 6'2", 218 out of Wyoming as Mr. Irrelevant. And we can't even see what his ratings are until we look at the draft recap. Okay, that was so weird why I did that. All right, so that's the draft. So we got trade offers now for Aleem McNeil. I don't think so. We got about 33 minutes left here in this live stream. Yeah, those are some crazy offers right there. Let's decline those. Draft recap. Let's look at it. I'm not interested in really anybody else other than our guys. So Matt Mickens is 73 overall. Hidden development guy. As you look at his accuracies here, he's not a bad dude. You know, not a bad player. They got him wearing number 8. 84 speed, 88 excel. Let's go ahead and edit him as well. But I think he looks pretty solid. So, do we go number 8? I think number 8 could be fine. Let's just do this, and then do we want a visor on him? We don't have to. No, I think no. We'll go eye tape. I think eye tape looks cool. Neck pad. I think loose is probably the best there. So we'll go coach team color. Coach team color. So that's Matt Mickens there for you. Tight end Devin Bell, he's 75 overall. He was our best draft selection here. He's a possession guy. Go look at his ratings. He's 84 overall, 83 catching. Run blocks is 65. So this is actually a guy that would be so fun to actually play and build with as well. Out of Michigan, just a big guy. So we can go. Let's go with like the let's go with this. Say something like this would be nice for Devin Bell. He's got that eye tape on the right side. Let's go with no visor on him as well. Pad height, I don't know why that would be like that. Tapered arm sleeve, no sleeves. This dude is just a business type of guy. Sock height, let's go tucked though. No, not tucked, let's go low. Yeah, there we go. And then Julius Howard, let's just make sure he's not looking like a bum here. Want to get into practice and at least play for like 20 minutes. All right, I think he looks just fine. Got the dark visor on. And then Cole Knott is 59 overall. That's not good. John Hunter 60. Isaiah Giles 66. Trey Nichols. Remember, was it Julius Howell that I said that I was going to take? I don't remember. So Trey Nichols is the last guy. We got him wearing number 1. Let's go ahead and edit him and just make sure he looks decent. Out of Penn State. Let's go no visor. No arm sleeve. All right. Actually, let's go ahead and look at who was the best player in the draft. Carl Watson. Best quarterback was Jason Berry, then Victor Randolph. Bill Kendrick ended up being a 74 overall. Fastest player. What? I'm so confused now. Because there's no... Oh, this is awareness that I was looking at? Okay. I was about to say, I was like, there's no way. There's a couple 99 overall speed guys. Who was the fastest quarterback is my question. Was it one of the top guys? Going through, trying to find it. Should be coming up soon. So it was Matt Mickens, and then Bill Kendrick is number 2. They're pretty identical, but Devin Bell and Matt Mickens with the same speed. And we can adjust the roster real quick. Just real quick. No, what world? Let's go to depth chart. So we got 66 players here on the roster. Not really too, concerned about. So Matt Mickens is the number 2 guy. Looking at this, we got Jamal Williams. Blake Corum will be atop the depth, above Cordero Patterson. Fullback Devin Bell. Okay, so we're gonna need a fullback, but for now, it's not gonna be Devin Bell. It's gonna be Cameron Latu. Wide receivers: Amon Ra, Jamison Williams, Alan Lazard, Jaden Reed. I think for now, I'm going to let Trey Nichols be that number 4 guy. And then tight ends, Jody Fortson and Devin Bell are just about, they're identical pretty much. So, looking good there. Left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, left end. Fatu Kasi will be our second left end. Right end will be AJ Espinosa with Josh Pascal. Ed Oliver will be in the middle with Lee McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike. Left outside linebacker, O'Shane Zimenez. He has pulled away from Drew Sanders. There's really nothing that I can fight there. And then Anzalone, hopefully he plays better. Malcolm Rodriguez at right outside linebacker. Corners, we got Jordan Lewis will be playing the slot this year. Kirby Joseph, Deshaun Elliott. Kick returner will be Patterson. Punt returner will be Patterson. Third down running back will not be Patterson. It will be Jamal Williams. Power back, Jamal Williams. Slot wide out, Amon Ra. Rush left in, Aiden Hutchinson. Rush right in. We can go with Pascal. I like the way he played there last year. And sub linebacker, slot corner. And that is the squad. Let's go play some practice. Oh, we'll be playing Pittsburgh in the preseason matchup. Got some trade offers again for Lee McNeil. I'm not interested. I will be right back. Well, I was trying to show off my cats to you guys, but they did not want to come in here. Alright, so let's go. Let's just go random play. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's go. I want to do something. Choose new play. So there's the new offense that we'll be running. This is Carolina's offense. Doesn't really look too unfamiliar, you know. They have two wing close and slot on I form. They have close on strong, close flex on weak. They have this pistol bunch, and they have some shotgun formations here. Now, let's go random play. Random play. And we'll just kind of run some plays here and see what this offense is looking like. Now, here's the thing. Jamal Williams is not a receiving back. So his role may change this season. We might have more of a Cordell Patterson look in the shotgun formations potentially. And there's Jody Fortson there on that reception. This series is going to suck the fact that we're not going to continue it. I really do want to. It's a lot of fun. And to the end zone. Yeah, this series was a lot of fun, and now that we're kind of like building it, it really feels like we're building this franchise. It's like, man, do I really want to end it? With Matt Mickens soon to be coming up, like I don't know how I would continue it. I don't want to play every single game though. That just takes a long time, and I think that it would be worth it. But it just, like I said, it just takes a very long time. So we're really struggling to complete some passes here. Um, the offensive line isn't really holding up too well at this point. This is going to be a draw. Jamal Williams there on the carry. That's a really good pass by Goff. If I would have thrown it just a second sooner, I think that Jameson Williams could come up with that. So obviously we're running the same defense with Detroit. New offense. It's the Carolina Panthers playbook due to the fact that we got a new offensive coordinator. That's Fortson on the reception. I'm going to go to depth chart, and I want to put Matt Mickens in at running back. We'll go with, I don't know. We'll go Trey Nichols. We'll put him out there instead of Amon-Ra. Tight end, let's go Devin Bell. And I just kind of want to see, does this offense have any read options? So it has QB sneak, and that is it. So if we want to have like a formation where Matt Mickens comes in, we would have to edit that ourselves, because I think Matt Mickens would benefit from being in a quarterback running offense. Speaking of which, I'm kind of interested in what his carrying status is. Okay, that was the wrong button. I didn't hit the right button, but it wasn't a bad pass there by Matt Mickens. Yeah, we would have to come away with like two formations that we put him in where we could run like a read option of sorts. One of them would probably be that bunch look. That's a good pass there. I would love to get out of the pocket with them.
Let's go. Ready.
Yeah, it's going to be nearly impossible to get out of the pocket with him and try and make plays. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to quit. And I'm going to go find a formation here where we can... Now, I don't know... How do we edit the playbook here? Because I don't want to spend too much time. I just kind of wanted to do one quick thing. I think we would have to actually exit out. And I don't want to do that. Actually, is there any way that when we go to weekly strategy, because I'm not going to do it right now. Yeah, let's change this real quick. What kind of playbook would we be looking at? Jeez. I think the spread playbook. Yeah, let's see. Now, obviously, this isn't our playbook moving forward. I just want to kind of get him on a couple of read options and see how that looks. Random read option. So I know you gotta slide because this game just doesn't know how to not let the quarterbacks fumble. But yeah, if we were to bring Matt Mickens into the game, this is kind of the look you would get, like a read option look.
Come on, come on. Ready, ready.
See how much he can run without fumbling here. Gets put on his bottom there.
Ready, ready. Set, go.
All right, he's not fumbling the ball, so that's actually surprising.
On the ready. Ready.
Ooh.
Ready, ready. Hot, hot. On the set. Ready.
So he hasn't fumbled the ball yet. Got about 14 minutes left here. We'll stream for about just a little bit. So Malcolm Rodriguez catches them there. So we would have to adjust the Carolina Panthers playbook, but I don't, you know, because they have no quarterback running options. And so the thing is if we want to get Matt Mickens out there sometimes onto the field and kind of see what he can do, we would need to come up with a look that's just more advantageous for him. And to put him out there where the only running quarterback option is quarterback sneak isn't very smart. But I also don't want to go through and customize his playbook and make it unfair. So I kind of want to keep it, but we may have to just go back to, you know, we don't want to go to Pittsburgh's playbook.
Let's go. Ready.
All right, there we go. We got a touchdown run with Matt Mickens. That's exactly what we wanted. And I think he could be so much fun. As I want to put in the other tight end here. We know Fortson's probably our guy. Let's look at the carrying here for Matt Mickens. 69 carrying, so he's not going to fumble the ball that much. And when you look at that compared to our running backs, it's almost as good as Chris Tyree. Let's go to tight end here. Let's go Devin Bell. And let's go... I want to go to player. Alright, and these are all plays that are designed for Devin Bell. Alright, so we go Hail Mary first. Matt Mickens looks really good right now.
Okay, ready. Go.
This is to Devin Bell. He is a big tight end, and I think that he could really shine bright in this offense.
Ready, ready.
Because my plan is I don't want Matt Mickens to just sit. Obviously, I would use the upgrade points to just find out his development. That way I don't have to do the downs. Because if I have to do the downs, amount of plays, I wouldn't reach it because Jared Goff is the starting quarterback for this offense. And that was going to be almost picked, but...
Here we go. Shot. Ready.
Devin Bell's catching everything.
Ready. Hot, hot.
So what offense do we want to go with is the question. We can go with the spread look,
Ready?
and
Come on, set.
but with the spread look though, that's not
Ready?
the offense that I want to run with Jared Goff either.
Go.
And so it's kind of a dilemma that I have, you know.
Ready, go. Got it. Ready?
Play with for a couple more minutes here. Under pressure there, can't blame them.
Let's go now. Ready?
I want to watch him see like as the pocket breaks down here. All right.
Set up. Let go.
Wouldn't do that in a real game.
Ready? Ready?
That's the first time I've ever seen that curl route work in Madden.
Let's go. Hut, hut.
And it works again. Not bad. I like the spread offense though. It gives me more of what I want to play to, but at the same time I do want to see. I missed him that time. I do want to see a 2 tight end set because I want to get Devin Bell out on the field as well. Look at that dot to Devin Bell. I'm going to try and get a passing touchdown here, potentially.
Okay, break. Go. Ready? Ready?
Bringing the blitz that time the defense is. So this is a tight end screen here.
Set. Let go. Go. Ready?
Let's get a passing touchdown. Let's go.
On the ready. Hut, hut. On the shake. Ready? Here we go. Shot. Hut.
So this series will be put on hold though. And as one thing that I can promise is it's on hold until it'll probably be a minute because MLB The Show is coming out here in just a couple of days, and that is what I want to focus. Here in 4 days it comes out, so that's what I want to focus on. Sorry I got quiet there for a second. I was trying to focus, but like I said, MLB The Show is what I want to focus on once it comes out. So this series will not be getting uploaded, but we do have interesting parts. Devin Bell is very interesting to this team, and Matt Mickens is very interesting. So it almost feels like we can revisit it maybe once a month, and that's a terrible throw. See, Matt Mickens would not be ready to go week 1. This is still Jared Goff's team for sure, but maybe we could do like an episode a month. I think that would be very fun to do. And in that episode, we just go through an entire season. We'll have to see. Ah, man. We'll have to see what that would look like. Let's throw one more pass that could go to the end zone. If we can get the protection. Ah, he had him. If we could just get the protection there. Let's go to the end zone.
60. Go.
One more pass. This is it.
Ready.
Yeah, this is it. All right, let's get out of here. But yeah, so this is the end of the Detroit Lions series. Now what we could do is we could do a Matt Mickens / Devin Bell career play out. You know, we could play a season and kind of see where these guys go, and then decide who do we really want to follow. They're both really good, and as a matter of fact, do we do it now? No, let's wait till the preseason. But that's gonna do it, everybody. I'm about to sneeze. All right. Anyways, that's gonna do it, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. As we pretty much wrapped up the Lions franchises. You know, a couple of things I wanted to show you guys and go through here. Matt Mickens was our number 1 draft pick. He is 6'3", 217, about just a inch shorter than Jared Goff, same weight, and he looks to be very fun to play with. I think that he'll be really fun to play with. As you look at his stats, they need some work, and that's why he's a development quarterback, because Jared Goff's only 29, so Jared Goff can give us the rest of his contract. As we look at Goff's contract real quick, he's got 1 more year left, so I think that we would bring Goff back more than likely. But if Matt Mickens felt like he was ready to go, then we could move on and go from there. We drafted Trey Nichols as well. He's a guy who wanted to look at his carrying. He's not very good at carrying the ball. He's just a guy that maybe when he gets the ball in his hands could be decent. And then tight end, Devin Bell, who's actually now better than Jody Fortson. I don't know. We'll see. Devin Bell, though, 6'5", 252, big guy. We ended up taking him in the 2nd round. Those are the guys of the future on this team. I would love to come back and revisit this series, and because it now feels like it's personal to me with Matt Mickens, Devin Bell on the squad. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but just know that this series was really fun, and if we do come back to it again, then awesome, but if we don't, then we left it in good hands with a Super Bowl caliber team with bright young pieces of the future. And that's the only thing we can really ask for. So without further ado, that's going to end this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Probably going to be another live stream on March 28th. It'll be a live stream, the first time playing MLB The Show. So look forward to that. That's the next video coming out. And then after that, we will officially start our MLB The Show franchise. And then from there, we're kind of just playing that and waiting until Maximum Football comes out. So that's going to do it, everybody. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.